coming up from the Northeast Live Studios in Guwahati. Northeast Tonight with Wasbir Hussain.
Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. It is now clear, viewers, that the government of Chief Minister Himanta Sharma in Assam is bent on bringing about a resolution, a peaceful resolution to the 40-year-old ULFA insurrection in the state. Right from the day he assumed office on the 10th of March, Chief Minister Himanta Sharma has been sending out peace overtures to the ULFA leader Paresh Bora, urging him to join the peace process. But dramatic developments were witnessed on Thursday during a press conference addressed by Dr. Himanta Sharma, the Chief Minister. During the press conference, Chief Minister Himanta Sharma made a fervent appeal to the ULFA chieftain Paresh Bora, urging him to release the detained ONGC employee Ritul Chetia. Even as he was addressing the press conference, a short while later, ULFA Commander-in-Chief Paresh Bora, ULFA Independent Commander-in-Chief rather, Paresh Bora called up our group channel News Live and said that in response or in honoring the appeal made by Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Sharma, he and his group has decided to release Ritul Chetia within the next 4 days. That's what Mr. Paresh Bora had said even as the press conference was going on. And shortly after that, when the news was aired and journalists were still at the press conference, which was still going on, when asked Dr. Himanta Sharma for his response, the Chief Minister said that that was a very good development and that he was welcoming the gesture made by Paresh Bora. Now, what is also significant is that the Chief Minister said in that press conference yesterday, that is Thursday, that, if Paresh Bora were to agree to join the peace process and talk peace with the state, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah would definitely welcome that particular move. Obviously, it is clear that Chief Minister Himanta Sharma would not have taken names of the two topmost leaders of the union government without at least having a telephonic consultation with them on the matter. The big question now is, will Paresh Bora come over ground, or will Paresh Bora join the peace process? Because the Chief Minister also appealed that it would be better if the ULFA took the unilateral ceasefire that it had declared a few days ago one step ahead by agreeing to fix a set of ceasefire ground rules. We'll have to wait and watch as to how things are going to pan out in the days ahead. To discuss the possibilities, I have got a very eminent panel tonight. I have with me the General Secretary of the Pro-Talk ULFA group, Mr. Anup Chetia, a former close associate of Mr. Paresh Bora. I have with me the chairman of FICCI, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur, a very well-known business leader, joining me now from Guwahati. And also I have with me tonight well-known writer and commentator, Mr. Mayur Bora. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. But before we begin the discussions, let's listen in to some excerpts of what Dr. Himanta Sharma had said in that press conference yesterday and the response by ULFA leader Paresh Bora. Let's listen in to some of these interesting snippets from the press conference and the response by the ULFA leader Paresh Bora.
মই অসমবাসী ৰাইজৰ হৈ পৰেশ বৰুৱা ডাঙৰীয়াক অত্যন্ত বিনম্ৰতাৰে ইয়াত কোনো যে মই সৰকাৰ মোৰ লগত পুলিশ মিলিটাৰী আছে গতিকে মই দম্ভ মাৰি কৈছো একো নহয় এজন অসমীয়া হিচাপে ঋতুলৰ সন্তানৰ পিতৃ মাতৃ চকুত দেখা চকু পানী বিলাকক মনত ধৰি ৰাখিব নোৱাৰি মই এজন অসমীয়া যুৱক হিচাপে পৰেশ বৰুৱা ডাঙৰীয়াক অনুৰোধ কৰিম যে আপুনি ঋতুলক এৰি দিয়ক ইয়াৰ আগলৈকে আমি কোৱা নাছিলো কাৰণ তেখেতেও অফিচিয়ালি ক্লেইম কৰা নাছিল আৰু আমিও তেওঁ ডাইৰেক্টলি ৰিকুৱেষ্ট কৰাৰ কথাটো ভাবা নাছিলো কাৰণ তেওঁ হয়তো ক'ব পাৰে যে মোৰ তাত আছে বুলি চৰকাৰে কি প্ৰমাণ দিব পাৰে বা তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ এটা বিতৰ্কত যাব খোজা নাছিলোঁ কাৰণে আমি এই ৰিকুৱেষ্ট কৰা নাছিলোঁ কিন্তু যোৱাকালি যেতিয়া তেখেতে নিজেই ক'লে যে এইটো ৰিতুল মোৰ লগত আছে সুৰক্ষিত হৈ আছে গতিকে ডেফিনেটলি মই অত্যন্ত আগ্ৰহেৰে সৈতে পৰেশ বৰুৱা ডাঙৰীয়াক অনুৰোধ কৰিম যে আপুনি ৰিতুল শইকীয়া ডাঙৰীয়াক মুকলি কৰি দিয়ক য'ত যেনেকৈ আছে আমি তাৰ পৰা তেওঁক লৈ আহিব পাৰিম আপুনি ঘৰত পঠাই দিলে ভাল নহ'লে আমি গৈ লৈ আহিম বাট কোনো ধৰণৰ কমপ্লিকেশ্যনত নোযোৱাকৈ আমি তেওঁক মুকলি হোৱাটো বিচাৰোঁ First of all, as a state, we cannot respond to the present ceasefire declaration because this is just the intent and you cannot take some step on basically on a statement of intent. So I am waiting for a further statement from C. Paresh Borua whether this ceasefire is to facilitate a discussion between Government of India and ULFA. So if that statement come and Sri Paresh Borua inform us that yes, my ceasefire is to basically prepare a ground for further discussion, then we will respond it appropriately. Paresh Borua Dangoriyar bhakhate tekhete koi je Bharat aru Assam omimangkhito proshno. Ami to rajya sarkar yar role to khub limited. যদি টকস হ'ব লাগে ইট হেজ টু বি বিটুইন গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট অফ ইণ্ডিয়া এণ্ড আলফা কিন্তু এটা কথা মই জানো যে শান্তিৰ যদি প্ৰকৃত প্ৰস্তাৱ আহে মোদী ডাঙৰীয়া আৰু অমিত শ্বাহ ডাঙৰীয়াৰ সদিচ্ছাৰ অভাৱ নহ'ব মই ভাবোঁ যে আজি 3 মাহৰ যুদ্ধবিৰতিৰ কথা কোৱা হৈছে আমি যদি লাহেকৈ গ্ৰাউণ্ড ৰুললৈকে যাব পাৰোঁ যে ঠিক আছে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ গ্ৰাউণ্ড ৰুল হ'ব বা আলোচনাৰ এটা যদি প্ৰস্তাৱ আহে তেতিয়ালে মই ভাবো যে মোদী ডাঙৰীয়া আৰু অমিত শ্বাহ ডাঙৰীয়াৰ সদিচ্ছাৰ অভাৱ নহব
All right, that was Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Sharma. Now let's listen in to the response made by Paresh Borua to some of these comments made by the Chief Minister at yesterday's press conference and even prior to that.
নহয় এই কথাটো ধন্যবাদৰ মানে মই পাত্ৰ নহয় ধন্যবাদ মই ল'ব নোৱাৰো এই ধন্যবাদটো আমাৰ অসমৰ মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী হিমন্ত বিশ্ব ডাঙৰীয়াই ল'ব পাৰে ধন্যবাদটো আমি তেখেতে যি ধৰণৰ সমাধান কৰিছে বস্তু যে এনেকুৱা এটা যিটো নেকি মানুহে বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ ভাবি থাকে আমাৰ উদ্দেশ্যবিহীনভাৱে কিছুমান কাম কৰোঁ বুলি আজি তেখেতে গম পাইছে আমাৰ উদ্দেশ্যটো অসমৰ মানুহৰ অসমৰ নিপীড়িত মানুহৰ লগত আমাৰ উদ্দেশ্য জড়িত আছে আৰু ইমান এটা সুন্দৰ এটা জটিল আৰু জটিলৰ মাজত যে অসমৰ মানুহৰ অসমৰ যুৱক যুৱতীৰ জীৱিকাৰ সন্ধান আছে বা জীৱিকা নিবাসৰ লগত এটা সম্বন্ধ আছে এই কথাটো আজি তেখেতে কৈ যে এইটো কাৰণে আমি নিশ্চয় যিকেইটা চৰ্ত দিছে এইকেইটা আমি পূৰণ কৰিম মই তেখেতে নিজেই কৈছে যে মই মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী 5 বছৰ আছো মই পূৰণ কৰিমেই তেখেতে দৃঢ়তাৰে কৈছে আৰু ইয়াকতো এজন মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰীয়ে ইমানখিনি প্ৰতিশ্ৰুতি দিয়াৰ পিছত আমাক কি লাগে আমিতো জনগণৰ কাৰণে কৈছো আজি জনগণৰ যিবিলাক আমি নিবনুৱা সমস্যা আছে যিবোৰ চাকৰিৰ কাৰণে যিজনে মানে আজি হাৱাথুৰি খাই আছে এই এনেকুৱা এটা আশ্বস্ত কৰাৰ পিছত আমাৰ একো নালাগে আমিতো আৰু মানে খুব আনন্দ হয় আৰু এই ৰিতুলৰ যিটো আমাৰ লগত আছে বা সুস্থ শৰীৰে 2 এদিনতে ইট ইজ মেটাৰ অফ ডেজ নট মেটাৰ অফ উইক মেটাৰ অফ মান্থ ইট ইজ মেটাৰ অফ অনলি days maybe 1 day 2 days 3 days like that not more than that এই কথাটো মই কৈ জনগণক লগতে আমাৰ ৰিতুলৰ পৰিয়ালৰ বিশেষকৈ মানে তেখেতৰ পৰিবাৰ তেখেতৰ পিতৃ মাতৃ মই আশ্বস্ত কৰি কৈছো দৃঢ়তাৰে কৰিছো অতি সোনকালে ইট ইজ মানে সপ্তাহ নহয় সপ্তাহ জোৰাও নালাগিব এইটো কেইদিনমান লাগিব কেইদিন মানে হয়তো এদিন বা 2 দিন বা 3 দিন বা 4 দিনৰ ওপৰত নাযায় তাতে ৰিতুল সহৰিয়ে ঘৰত যে উপস্থিত হ'ব মই আপোনাৰ চেনেলৰ যোগেদি জনাই দিছো
Okay, that was Paresh Bora for you. Now let us go to our panelist. I'm going first to you, Mr. Anup Chetia. Mr. Anup Chetia, you have seen it all. You are on both sides of the fence. You were leading the ULFA insurgency at one point of time along with Paresh Bora, and now you are on the other side. You are talking to the government of India, trying to find a solution. How do you view, Mr. Anup Chetia, how do you view the direct appeal made by Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma to Paresh Bora, and how do you see the response of Mr. Paresh Bora, which is also, to me, it looked like quite warm and positive. Do you agree?
Yes, this is, first of all, I would like to thank to ULFA Independent and NSNK leadership, especially ULFA Commander-in-Chief and Vice Chairman Paresh Bora for his initiative, and also new Chief Minister Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma for their initiative to release Secia. And it is a very good sign, not only ULFA or not only government of Assam, for all about the people of Assam and every corner. And it is a very good sign for the government also, because this Honorable Chief Minister, he have taken a very good initiative and a very good response also coming from Paresh Bora. And it is a very good initiative, and I think it is a good sign also, and there is a good hope also. We have seen a good raise are coming for the next few days, and for this, I think I like to request to the Honorable Chief Minister also to take a good initiative also to arrange a peace process, to make a ground for the peace process, because, and I like to request to Paresh Bora also and ULFA independent leadership also, because you should come forward for the peace process when you are in a strong position. But right now, I believe that ULFA independent is in a strong position right now. It is the time, if they came to the negotiation table, it is the right time, because when we came in to the negotiation table in 2011, at that time, you know, that most of our leadership was inside the jail when they were handed over by government of Bangladesh to the government of India, and they put inside the Guwahati jail. All of our leadership was inside the Guwahati jail. That was our very weak position, and the very in that position. But government of Assam and government of India at that time, Honorable Chief Minister led Tarun Gogoi in his good initiative, good diplomatic initiative, and then this government of India agreed to make a discussion with to finish the Assam-India conflict with ULFA. But
right.
That was the very weak position.
Right.
Weak position. But right now, this ULFA independent is a strong position. I think it is the right time. If they decided to come, it is the right time. And Honorable Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, he's also very interested.
Yes, I'll come back to you, Mr. Anup Chetia. Very significant points made by Mr. Anup Chetia. He says that ULFA independent is on a strong wicket now, and now is the right time to enter into negotiations with the government. That's what is Mr. Anup Chetia saying, that when they entered into talks in 2011, they were not in a very strong position because most of its leaders were in jail. I'm coming to Mr. Ranjit Borthakur. Mr. Ranjit Borthakur, you know, what is the sense that you are getting in the last 11 days that Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma has been Chief Minister? He has made several overtures. More than 2-3 occasions, he has directly appealed to the ULFA to join the peace process. And you have also seen the responses made by Mr. Paresh Bora, the ULFA military chief, ULFA independent military chief. Now, as an observer, as someone very, very closely connected with the socio-political life in Assam, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur, what is the sense that you are getting?
I do believe that the overture by the Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, and the response by Paresh Barua Dangoria has been absolutely phenomenal. It actually takes two people to clap. And I do believe the objectives of both parties afresh are the same. It is the prosperity and development of Assam. One all understands that the prosperity and development of Assam is dependent on the investment index. Whether it is the Human Development Index, which one is referring to, or the index of prosperity leading to a gross happiness index, it depends on a peace process. This peace process overture from the heart of the Chief Minister, when he spoke, I was quite actually emotionally moved at his appeal. But equally, I was very moved by Paresh Barua Dangoria and his, overture. In fact, actually, Paresh Barua is a little younger than me, 1 year, and I do think that he has a great intention for the people of Assam. In terms of the economic parameters and priorities, if you look at the framework of the way we are working, we are a state of the Union of India. The Union of India wants peace. The whole purpose of actually the journey was to make sure that all states developed. And you can see the development index has progressed phenomenally from 1947. From 1979, when ULFA had actually been formed, many of the demands that they had actually laid down for the prosperity of the people, no doubt, was absolutely phenomenal. And now with the dynamism of a young chief minister, supported earlier by a very good term by Sorbananda Sanwal, supported earlier by Tarun Gogoi, the conduit of Assam seems to be wanting is peace. The peace has been achieved. Now it is for prosperity and happiness index. And I see this as an observer, as an industry observer, that if these two come together, we have a great future ahead.
Right. Now we'll expand on that, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur. Let me turn to you, Mr. Mayur Bora. Mr. Mayur Bora, you have seen attempts earlier by our previous governments or by the ULFA itself or the civil society in Assam to bring the two sides together. It was prolonged because, a lot of intermediaries, lot of civil society groups were formed, groups and committees were formed, committees were talking, and it was a never-ending process. Now, do you think that directly the Chief Minister, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, has covered enough ground already by his direct talk, direct appeal to the ULFA in a most conventional manner? Because yesterday in that press conference, he made it very, very significant. He said that I am not talking to you or not making this appeal to you as the Chief Minister who has the police and the military at my command. I am making an appeal to you as a son of Assam, as a citizen of Assam. Do you think this kind of an unconventional approach has helped and a lot of ground has already been covered?
Definitely, Wasbir. I think you have hit the nail on its head. I think you know it very well. As a person who has been observing the Assam politics for last 2 decades, and to put it things in perspective and very honestly, I was not very excited about some of the policies being or political initiatives of Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma earlier. But now I am forced to say, having seen in last 11 days, this is a political masterstroke. And this is a masterstroke for the benefit of the state, because for long, as you have been mentioning about different initiatives by different civil society groups and other in the last 10-15 years, but everything proved to be a damn squib. And when all these initiatives prove to be damn squib, ultimately people of Assam, people like you and me, we tend to get very, very disappointed. Because for how long we are going to see this kind of strife and violence and turmoil in the state we love very, very dearly. In this backdrop, Himanta Biswa Sharma, after taking over the reins of Chief Ministership of Assam, that's why I don't have any hesitation in terming it, branding it as a political masterstroke. And while doing that, the fact that he is appealing to him as a youth of Assam, because AZ is on his side. I always admired his efficiency and dynamism, although I had some reservation about his some earlier political initiatives, as I said. But having said that, he never approached Paresh Borua with the traditional I am the state kind of a thing, the kind of political accoutrements or the paraphernalia which the chief minister enjoys constitutionally. I think bereft of that, what he has appealed to Paresh Borua definitely might have covered some of the ground. And I also have a feeling the second important thing probably he will be coming later, but this is also very, very important. I could not hear fully what Mr. Chetia and Mr. Borthakur said because of some audio issue, but I think important point in the whole scheme of things is that Prime Minister Mr. Modi and Amit Shah, Home Minister Amit Shah, because Himanta Biswa Sharma was referring to their some sort of concurrence. I think that's a big thing, because
Yes.
ultimately, since
Yes.
it is a conflict, as per the words of ULFA-I and Paresh Borua, between Assam and India, the central government has to play a pivotal role, very important role. And in that case also, I think Himanta Biswa Sharma's acumen, the political adroitness, and all those things will be an asset, provided we ultimately see long-lasting peace and tranquility in the end of the day. I think after a long time, Wasbir,
Right.
I don't have any hesitation in saying I see some light at the end of the tunnel. I think we all have to brighten that light. And Himanta Biswa Sharma, in that connection or while doing that, if he needs any support from the civil society on this particular issue, I will be there. I think civil society of Assam will be there for the betterment of the state.
Absolutely, very well said, Mayur Bora, who describes this as a political master stroke in a very unconventional manner. Mayur Bora is a very, very close watcher of the socio-political developments in Assam, and he has been writing on this issue. Let me turn to you once again, Mr. Anup Chetia. Mr. Anup Chetia, you have seen earlier that a lot of committees were formed, civil society groups were involved in trying to act as mediators between the ULFA and the government, but we did not see much of a success. Now, as a very top leader of the ULFA who has worked so closely with Mr. Paresh Borua, would you want that talks should be direct as far as possible between the chief minister and the ULFA leader?
Oh, yes, there should be direct links with the government of India and Alpha independent leadership. But before going that, there should be some groundwork. You see, when in 1997, this NSC and IM and government of India, this discussion was started. Before that, whatever I know, that since 1993-94, they have started in different levels discussions. After that, they prepared the ground level. And after preparing the ground level, they started the discussion in 1997. Therefore, before going to the discussion, formal discussion, I think there should be some groundworks. And that groundwork should be done through some emissaries, not some civil society, because this in Assam right now, there is no neutral civil society personnel. You should appoint some neutral civil society personnel, and you have to find out that neutral personnel. Otherwise, if politicalized, then it will be not success. Therefore, I like to suggest to the government of Assam, there should be some civil society, neutral civil society personnel who can guide and or who can use as a emissaries to meet with the Alpha independent leadership, because before going to the formal discussion, there should be some conversation with the Alpha leadership and government of India or government of Assam, because what is their demand? I don't know exactly what is their demand right now. There should be some sort of demand from the Alpha independent also. But right now, first, we have to confirm whether we have to wait for their comments, whether they are interested to come forward or not. That is the main point. But whether if they are interested to come forward to the foreign negotiation, then then they will provide us some information also to the government of Assam or government of India or some emissaries, whatever they like that. After that, we can start the we can go to the ground.
Right. Now, right. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur, you know, now to what extent, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur, do you think this holds the key? Because in the middle of combating the COVID pandemic, which obviously is the #1 priority of the state government, and that too the new state government under Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, he has almost made it very clear that his second topmost priority is to end or bring the ULFA leadership to the negotiating table. That means he is attaching extreme importance to the issue of resolving the ULFA insurgency, isn't it?
No, he's definitely addressing that as a top priority. Meaning, when you take over as chief minister, not that I have ever taken over as chief minister, I can, however, understand that he would have 20,000 decisions to take place. But he's made very good priority. First is COVID. Second is getting peace. With peace will come connectivity. With connectivity will come economic flow. With economic flow will come ecological support. And then the entire process of the value chain of economics will continue. Both Mayur and Anup have made very good points. And I think the art of negotiation is really what Anup is really talking about. In business, we do that all the time. But this is much more complex, involving so many lives. What Mayur has said, he's gone out of his way to say that compliments to a masterstroke by the chief minister. I would second that. My point is that what Dr. Sharma is doing is actually very unconventional. I have not seen this in the process of Assam before. All of them have been actually very supportive, and I've been following this movement from 79. By default, I have various postings, and I've been the sufferer in some cases, or enlightenment has also come because of the kind of demands that were put there for the government of India and the government of Assam to consider. So I think what Dr. Sharma is doing is the right thing. You see, once you bring about peace, then the entire index of security, the entire index of investment happiness will come. But more importantly, I think what Dr. Sharma has done with this ONGC request to Paresh Barua, and Paresh Barua having put his hand forward to release the person, is a masterstroke of social dimensions.
Yes.
So this reverberates right through the whole of Assam. Because you see, unless you have social dimensioning, you can't have economics. So the social dimensioning and the structure, both of which were referred to by Anup and Mayur in a different way, is that you will not be able to actually make progress of a state. Because finally, it's about human beings and the gross happiness index, as they call it in Bhutan and some
Mr.
countries.
Ranjit Borthakur, I'll come back to you. Right. I'll come back to you. But Mayur Bora, a chief minister makes an appeal to the ULFA leader, please release a detained corporate sector oil industry employee, ONGC. And the ULFA leader says, yes, okay, I respect your appeal. I honor you. And I will release them. So this has never happened in the 40 years of insurgency in Assam, where several corporate sector or oil industry or tea industry officials have been kidnapped. It was not so easy. So this is again, what does it indicate? It indicates a matter of trust between the two sides. It's a trust that Paresh Barua reposes on Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma and his government.
Definitely, Wasbir. The fundamental thing will be trust, as you have rightly indicated. Paresh Barua reposes in the capability, in the political acumen of Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Having said that, we must also remember, as you have played in the beginning of the program, the press conference or the telephonic message conveyed by Paresh Barua to News Live. Paresh Bora, you might have seen, he's effusive in showering encomiums to Himanta Biswa Sharma. That is also, as an observer of this thing, it has never happened before. No insurgent leader generally praises the incumbent chief minister or prime minister of a state. Earlier, I have never said that. This is also pregnant with many meanings and ramifications, and I am happy to note, whatever little I have understood, these are pregnant with positive indications and ramifications for the future. That's why initially I said there is some light at the end of the tunnel. See, Himanta Biswa Sharma also, when you analyze the man and the politician, generally whether you like it, dislike it, that's a different issue. But he always tends to control the narrative. Forget about the fact that he has become chief minister in the last 11 days. Even before also, during from his cotton days, he has got the uncanny capability of controlling the narrative. He has got many friends. He has got many enemies. Enemies not in that sense, many critics also. Sometimes we also jump into that bandwagon, as I said earlier. Having said that, now he has established a narrative which seems to be healthy, salubrious, and positive for the state. And that is why suddenly it is not because that he has become chief minister, and that's why I have also started praising earlier, leaving aside my critical role. Not because of that. He has done something. Proof of the pudding is in the eating. Wasbir, you know it very well. I can see, and I think this is just the beginning.
Yes,
if he can take it forward, Wasbir, if he can take it forward, he will be doing a great service. There are many chief ministers. I'm sorry to say there are many chief ministers, but very few remember all the chief ministers. You know it very well. I am a student of history. But I think if he can do that, when future history will be written, definitely among his other roles where he will be criticized also, for this particular role, his word will be, or his name will be written in golden words. I don't have any hesitation to say. But having said that, now we must try to work towards, because government is combating the pandemic also, work towards an area so that ultimately it can be taken to a logical conclusion. So on this issue, I think government needs support from civil society.
Right. Mayur, absolutely, Mayur, hold your thoughts. I'll go for a short break. Very well said, Mayur, but I will go for a short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back after this very short commercial. Welcome back to this very engaging discussion. Let me turn to you, Mr. Mayur Bora. How do you think things are going to pan out in the days ahead, Mr. Mayur Bora?
Yeah. See, the brass tacks would be very difficult to predict at this juncture. Anup Chetia would have been the right man to say. But having said that, whatever little I have observed, first of all, Wasbir, we have to remember that we have got a rampaging pandemic which has really bogged down the country. The country has been criticized internationally also. So that thing also we have to keep in mind. But it is definitely, again, the credit goes to the chief minister that side by side, while managing and trying to combat the pandemic, this long drawn issue also he has been able to underline and amplify. Now, I hope, Wasbir, you can hear me. Hello? Am I audible, Wasbir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So what I was telling, that some ground rules will be established. The ground rules, see, in India, we have got a lot of insurgency groups in Punjab, in Kashmir, in Northeast for the last many years. So the Home Ministry officials and the shenanigans in Delhi, they know it very well how to go ahead from the states, from the country's point of view. Whereas I am more excited to see, because of the praise being showered upon by the incumbent chief minister, by Mr. Paresh Bora, and other positive indications which he has been giving through the phone calls to different people and media houses, I feel this time it will not be a kind of talks which will just for the heck of it. Because I remember Paresh Bora some time back, around 10 years back, he said that he never wants to get into a talks with government of India because he was metaphorically referring this to a traffic jam in an Indian city. But I hope that traffic jam will not be there provided there is goodwill between the state government, which he has already expressed. I am very sure central government will also come forward if provided they get a good input from the Paresh Borua as well as from the state government. And now I think ball goes to Paresh Borua also, to whatever hope and aspiration he has rekindled in the hearts of the Assamese people, for which he claims that he has been fighting. If he can reignite that, rekindle that by taking to the logical conclusion of the overture made by Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, and to the union government, I think the state and the history, when further it will be written, Paresh Borua will also be considered as someone who took a decisive call at a critical juncture of humanity, critical juncture being faced because of the pandemic by India as well as Assam, and that a logical, peaceful solution and respectable solution, he was instrumental in ushering in to the state of Assam. If he can do that, as has been exemplified by Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, I think the people of Assam will, after a long time, heave a collective sigh of relief. But we must try to understand, we must try to resolve that some of the questions that ULFA raised, apart from the question of sovereignty, which many of the Assamese people, including myself, we do not support, the other important issues flagged by ULFA regarding the federal structure of the government system between central government and state government, that needs to be resolved so that the long pending issues of Assamese people can be respectfully resolved by the union government in consultation with ULFA and the state government led by Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma.
Okay. Now, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur, I don't know whether Mr. Anup Chetia is back with us. I have no idea. Now, okay. Until my producer tells me, I don't know whether Anup Chetia is back with me. All right. Let me turn to you, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur. Let me turn to you, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur. Mr. Ranjit Borthakur, as an industry leader, do you think Himanta Biswa Sharma knows exactly what he is doing, because his government has promised 1 lakh jobs to people? You are in the middle of a pandemic where business has been at an all-time low. We may not have gone for a lockdown, but considering the rise in cases, we have been forced to keep the shops open or keep the shops, or may have the shops shut at 11 a.m. in the morning. So these are certain restrictions. And now we are getting news that because of weather, the tea industry production is going down by 40% from January to May. All these things combined, do you think Himanta Biswa Sharma has gone ahead because he realizes that peace is the prerequisite to deal with this kind of challenges right at the beginning of his tenure?
I definitely believe that Dr. Sharma knows what he's doing. I also would like to re-emphasize Dr. Sharma is one chief minister who I've had the privilege of working with. The value chain of a ministerial experience for him is the most, if I may say so, in India. He started very early in 2000 and he continued as if it was an organization. It is like a CEO or becoming a chairman of an organization. He knows every nook and corner of the entire delivery system of the state, be it the bureaucrats and the politicians. I think, I think Himanta Sharma ji is basically under-promising, and he knows that his priority will be 5-6 items, but the prerequisite has to be peace, because if people have to come to India or people have to go to Indonesia or China, the prerequisite will be certain conditions which are very necessary for investment. And one of those conditions is peace. For various reasons, it is not as if investment is waiting to come to Assam. And if Assam has a problem which is unresolved over the last 40 years, I'm saying that is not going to encourage that investment to run here. There are many places in the world to go for investment. But what Dr. Sharma has done has given the confidence and send out the signal. And as a member of FICCI and as the chairperson, I can say the whole of industry will support him to ensure that this is possible. In fact, the industry, once this takes sort of root, as it has already done, I think we will definitely come and support Dr. Sharma in achieving all his dreams. I think 1 lakh is less. I think we should be talking about an current employment status to be static, and an additional employment of at least 1 to 2 million in the next 5 to 10 years. Because it is only then, unless we take the high ground, Assam will not be able to
Right.
actually play catch up.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, let me turn to you, Mr. Anup Chetia. Mr. Anup Chetia, what could be the challenges ahead? Now, Mr. Himanta Mr. Sharma, Dr. Himanta Mr. Sharma has made an appeal. He has said that ULFA, if they takes the ceasefire to the next level by preparing or agreeing to a set of ceasefire ground rules, then, and if the Paresh Bora agrees to come for talks, then the peace process can start. My question to you, Mr. Anup Chetia, what could be the challenges? What are the challenges that lie ahead, according to you?
But whatever I know, I think mostly 2 years before, Paresh Bora, I talked to him also. At that time, he was interested for to come forward for the negotiation with the government of India. And at that time, he passes some message to the government of Assam also, and to the government of India also at that time. But the government of Assam or government of India, they did not take any initiative. And but right now, it's Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma is a very positive and pragmatic chief minister we got in Assam. I think most probably from his personal initiative, whatever he have speak in yesterday's press conference, and I am also encouraging, and definitely some solution will be come out, and Paresh Bora will be come forward for the negotiation table, and for the negotiation.
Yeah, but Anup Chetia ji, Mr. Anup Chetia, Mr. Anup Chetia, my question was slightly different. Yes, we are all expecting a solution, but what are the challenges ahead? What are some of the challenges ahead?
Challenges, main challenges will be there. That's Paresh Bora, they want to discuss for sovereignty, and the government of India, they are not interested to go beyond the Constitution of India. That is the main problem, and I think most probably therefore that I previously also I mentioned that we have to send some emissaries to discuss what is their demand, but that should be in the face-to-face with the Paresh Bora and ULFA independent leadership. There should be face-to-face discussion with the leadership, and through telephonic conversation or through email or through what is called this media, we cannot go on. We cannot take a final decision. Therefore, I like to appeal to the government of Assam and government of India also. Yes, please try to send some emissaries to make face-to-face discussion with government of India. If they form like a PCG, that will be not a solution. That will be a very lengthy process. That will be not come final decision within a short period. Therefore, I like to appeal to the ULFA independent also. Don't go to like that to form a PCG or like that, because previously we formed a PCG, but that was a very lengthy process, and we did not get any result from the PCG. Therefore, we have to take some other initiative, and that should be beyond the curtain. That means not through the publicity, not the media, not that should be separate discussion. That means nobody should
Absolutely.
Clearly.
Mr. Yes.
Can you understand me?
So, Mr. Anup Chetia there suggesting. Yes, I can hear you. I heard you actually, everything what you said. Mr. Anup Chetia is suggesting that there has to be an emissary sent for a direct talks to prepare the ground for a possible dialogue between the ULFA Independent and the government of India. And Mr. Anup Chetia also said a PCZ type of a committee may not be the best solution because it will take a lot of time. Mr. Mayur Bora, how do you see things panning out in the sense that, you know, the direct approach, Mr. Anup Chetia is talking about sending an emissary, you know, because you cannot settle everything through the media or through telephonic conversations. But as I said, asked you this question right some time ago, Himanta Biswa Sharma has a different way of dealing with things. He has already covered a lot of ground by direct talks through the, even through the media.
Yeah, absolutely. Wasbir, for that actually you have to keep in mind the pandemic situation also. Right now you cannot have an unwieldy body like a PCG at the current juncture, which will be, they will also find it extremely difficult to take the thing to a logical conclusion. See, after, if I can ask you innocently, that who is Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma? Definitely people will say that Himanta Biswa Sharma is the Chief Minister of Assam, 15th Chief Minister of Assam. Then who becomes a Chief Minister? Chief Minister, a politician becomes a Chief Minister. Once there is a politician, he will at times try to make some rhetorical statement. He will also try to play to the gallery. But in this issue where the peace and tranquility of bringing to Assam is concerned, we have not seen it. We have seen a very earnest Himanta Biswa Sharma trying to appeal to Bora as a youth, as a citizen of Assam, so that a long-lasting peace solution can be achieved. Now, having said that, the main difficulty would be, see, there will be two fronts. If Bora keeps on insisting on sovereignty, which government of India obviously will say will be non-negotiable, then I think the discussion or the talks will come into a stalemate. But I think Bora will be intelligent enough, he will be practical enough to see the ground level situation, and he will try to tone down his demand from the sovereignty aspect. But the second challenges that lie ahead will be the federal structure of the government. We know in India we have got a federal government with a strong unitary bias. But here, the kind of questions raised by militant outfits like ULFA, NSCN and other outfits at Punjab and Kashmir at some point of time, people who are not talking about independence or secession also, they would definitely like to have a relaxed kind of a federal structure with more power coming to the states. And I think Himanta Biswa Sharma is on a strong wicket now. I am telling you very frankly what I feel, because the central leadership is somewhat, they are not as strong, at least in popular imagination, as it was thought to be, because of the pandemic mismanagement and because of international bad press they are doing for that. So now I think Himanta Biswa Sharma, they have to depend on him, because whole Northeast for BJP, he is the key man. There is no denying the fact. Whether I like it or dislike it, as a NEDA convener, he is the key man. So in this situation, my appeal to Himanta Biswa Sharma would also be very, very clear and pointed. Try to cover the ground with the central leadership also in the larger interest of the state, and also appeal to Bora to tone down his demand for sovereignty, so that a respectable, long-lasting solution can be found.
Right. I'll have to stop you, Mayur Bora. I'll have to stop you. Let me turn to Ranjit Borthakur. Ranjit Borthakur, you know, the Himanta Biswa Sharma, the Chief Minister has also said that, you know, the ULFA has to adopt a give and take approach. You know, so he has made it very clear that if the ULFA, he has not said it in so many words, but he has said that a give and take approach would be the best approach that can lead to a genuine solution to the insurgency problem in Assam. So he has made it very clear. So what do you make of it? Your final comments, Mr. Ranjit Borthakur.
I think it's a very pragmatic and wise appeal. Interdependence is the only way to go forward. The Chief Minister has a very good vision for a prosperous Assam. Bora also has a very big dream for Assam. He must give and take if they want to achieve the same goal of the prosperous Assamese people, prosperous people within the geography. And I think what Mayur has said is very actually correct. We have to be very balanced in this whole management, and what Anup has also said is also very correct in terms of the process with the government. We should not delay, because I will just give only one emotive example. If there was that child which Himanta went the Chief Minister went and actually met a child in the arms of the mother and made an appeal. It is not that he's just gone onto the TV and made an appeal. He went and took an effort to travel. He went there, met the children, met the child, and then came back and actually made an appeal from that day itself. And he said, this is an emotive appeal for the people of Assam. So please come forward. So, and I think, therefore, the appeal is from the heart. This is not just about negotiations and making a political mileage. He will get political mileage if he wins this. And there's no question of losing it, because I think we all must support the Chief Minister, and we must support Paresh Barua to come to the table, hug each other, and create an interdependent solution for the vision of a prosperous, happy Assam.
Right. Now, final comments from you, Mr. Anup Chetia. You have been talking to the government of India for almost 10 years now, almost a decade. You have been talking to the government of India. Now, do you want Paresh Barua also to come over ground and join the peace process? Would you be cooperating with the ULFA independent in the peace efforts? What will be the stand of ULFA? Mr. Anup Chetia.
And yes, for the greater interest of the Assam, for the greater interest of the people of the Assam, we support to the ULFA independent also if they came forward for the negotiation with the government of India and government of Assam, then we will be most welcome them also. And personally, I will be there to help to the government of India or government of Assam to bring ULFA independent to the negotiation table. Whatever in my personal position, I can help to the government of Assam and government of India also to bring press to the negotiation table. I am ready.
Absolutely. That is a very, very positive statement coming from Mr. Anup Chetia, General Secretary of the ULFA Pro-Talk Group, which is engaged in peace talks with the government of India, a very, very close associate of Mr. Paresh Barua, spent a lot of years together. And at the end of the day, there has been fast-paced developments in the last 11 days that Dr. Himanta Sharma and his new government has taken over in Assam. He has made repeated peace overtures to the ULFA that is seen to be almost yielding results, because his appeal to the ULFA leader Paresh Barua to release abducted or ONGC employee Ritul Secy, and Paresh Barua's response saying that we will release him within the next 4 days is extremely positive reaction from the ULFA also. One can only hope that things move ahead in the positive direction. There will be challenges ahead, but a man with Dr. Himanta Sharma, a man of Dr. Himanta Sharma's experience and political acumen, one can hope that he'll be able to surmount those challenges and bring the peace process with Paresh Barua and the ULFA Independent on track. I thank all my panelists for participating on the show and the viewers for watching the program. Good night and goodbye.